Recently, the United States Supreme Court has made some decisions in some class action cases. One was in favor of AT&T Wireless. There's some other ones that are pending against Walmart, for example, that they're taking into consideration. What is the future of class action lawsuits in America today?
Steve, that's a very open question right now, because last week the Supreme Court decided AT&T versus Concepcion. And that was a case where some customers had sued AT&T in state court in California. AT&T responded by saying that they had a mandatory arbitration agreement as part of their customer service agreement that forbade class actions. And the state of California had long recognized, as has many other states, that agreements like that are so one-sided and so prone to abuse that they could not be enforced. And AT&T made the argument in the Supreme Court that the state law rules against enforcing mandatory arbitration clauses with class action waivers were preempted by the Federal Arbitration Act. If that ruling had been made 5 years ago, the cases that we had challenging the early termination fees, for example, that led to reform in the entire industry, would have been thrown out of court immediately. And so it's a very open question whether the courts are going to permit companies to basically have a get-out-of-jail-free. You know, it's a contract between AT&T and the customer that the customer never sees, never signs. It's terms and conditions. Maybe they come in the mail after the fact. Maybe they're on a website somewhere. And what the effect it has is it says you are not permitted as a customer to go to any court in the United States of America and bring any claim against us in any capacity whatsoever. Right. And it's not just AT&T that has this. Every wireless carrier in the United States has the exact same provision in its contract. Every cable company in the United States has a similar provision. Dish Network, DirecTV. And with that decision last week, what it appears to have said is we're going to allow those to be enforced. And if that's right, it's going to be very, very challenging for anyone to seek any measure of justice if they've been cheated on their phone bill, if they've been cheated on their cable bill. And we talked about the Avocor company, where they're selling a grossly fraudulent hair regrowth product that was actually a scam. If they had just put in some literature in the package that said, we're going to arbitrate any disputes and there can't be any class actions against us, we never would have been able to get off the ground.
Right.
And they can just go on committing fraud after fraud after fraud without any redress.
So consumers still have an effective way of acting together to sue these big companies, right?
They still do, but the Supreme Court's action has narrowed those rights and made it more difficult. And there will be circumstances that may arise where it'll be harder for consumers to have their day in court and to have their rights vindicated and to stop companies from taking advantage of them.
It just makes it more important for someone who's in that situation to make sure they get the right lawyer.
We've done an outstanding job, and I really appreciate you spending time with us today. Thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you, Steve.
It's a pleasure, Steve.
Thanks for joining us. You can get more information about our guest and the issues at insiderexclusive.com.